the Constitution is the document that tells us what kind of government we're going to have. And so it is like the most important document that creates our country. It is the document that tells us that we have a judicial branch and an executive branch and a legislative branch. We didn't really have those before the Constitution, right? So these guys kind of had to make this up. And I don't know, I talk a little bit to people sometimes about the meeting that was held, or the series of meetings that were held to draft the Constitution. But think about this, all those people that were involved in setting up our new government and drafting the Constitution, they met, do you know where they met? Philadelphia. Everybody know where Philadelphia is? It's in Pennsylvania. They met in Philadelphia. They probably met in some other places. But they met in Philadelphia, and they met in the summer in Philadelphia. Has anybody ever been to Philadelphia in the summer? It's hot and sticky, isn't it? But they met in a building where they closed all the windows. They didn't have air conditioning in those days. They closed all the windows and they nailed them shut. And they closed the door and they met inside this building. You know why they had to do that? Nail the windows shut and such? It's this guy. Yeah. No, actually that's not a bad idea. But it was really hot in there. Why do you suppose they had to meet in a building with all the windows and doors locked? Yes, ma'am. They needed privacy because, you know what? Because those people that helped to write this, they potentially could have still been tried for treason or something. I mean, this was a new novel idea. It was dangerous to write the Constitution. So they had to do a lot of this stuff. They had to talk to each other and set up our government by and large because they were in the middle of a war. So the framers of the Constitution worked for a long time to develop a document that they could then go out to their friends and their colleagues in the other states and say, here's a new kind of government. There's never been a government like this ever. That's really the important, that's an amazing thing, isn't it? The American government was a brand new model in those days. Now, if you go around the world, you'll find other governments that look like ours. But these fellows were all so smart that they made up a whole new kind of government, and they put it all in this one document that you guys have all got it in your hand. It's small enough to hold in your hand. So think about how amazing that is. The Constitution of the United States. How amazing that is. That a bunch of folks pretty much just like me and you, pretty smart. They'd worked hard. They were very brave. They all got together and they came up with this form of government. And then they had an idea in their head, but they had to be able to write it down and say, this is how our government's going to operate. And so if you understand the Constitution, then you understand sort of what they were thinking and what they were going through in order to get there.